Isn't that supposed to be tack? Continuing right from where we left off last week, Yuriko and Tojima were going into their semi-final match. Both quote-unquote henshin, which the relatively normie Yukarisu didn't quite see. I mean, yeah, she was a member of an evil organization modeled after the funny hand gesture guys from Germany who wore fetishy gear, but she still could recognize that these two were visually kind of off. Don't worry, she's not talking about you, Mamoru. Now that said... Granted, I say just visually because her, and really everyone's opinion, would change over the course of the fight, including once they got past the dorky hero walk that was a trope that was better off left in the past. Meanwhile, Mitsuba was providing commentary with him trying to make sense of Tojima's strength. Why not? This also somehow led him to believing that his brother let him win their match, but nah dude, you just kicked ass. Speaking of which, this is gonna be one of those episodes that's gonna be hard for me to commentate on, as it was mostly just one long fight scene, where it really is better shown than told to really get across the absolute badassery here. I mean, the two just went at it with some pretty solid choreography. I mean, I don't think for a show like this, we should be looking for absolute realism or anything. That said, we can kind of analyze how they fought here. Like, for about the first part of the fight, Yuriko was mostly on the defense, which makes sense, as like Mitsuba, she was mostly a counterattacker, like her idol, the OG Tackle. She wasn't absolutely reliant on counterattacks as she didn't train Aikido like him, but it did mean that she had to try to tank many of Tojima's blows, which was easier said than done. Regardless, Yuriko wasn't going to give up, especially once she remembered her childhood trauma of finding her dad's secret video, which wasn't corn, even though it was kind of shot like it. But yeah, while she was inspired by her Oshi's heroic sacrifice, she did have one of the more common issues that most fans have with characters who are just killed off suddenly for the sake of the plot. Somewhere, Stronger just got the coldest chill down his spine. Also, to answer her question, Stronger was saving a bunch of kids at the time, and was also severely weakened due to using a lot of his energy to break open their cage. As a result, OG Yuriko got infected with the villainous Dr. Kate's deadly poison that there was no cure for. So yeah, it was a chain of unfortunate, but mostly unavoidable events. And on a bit of another separate note, to fill up time in this video, the original Dr. Kate was played by the Super Sentai legend Machiko Soga. She was known for playing a bunch of villainesses in that franchise, including of course Bandora, or as Power Rangers fans better know her as... After 10,000 years I'm free! She sadly passed away in 2005 from pancreatic cancer after giving one last great performance as the heavenly arc saint Magiel in Maji Ranger. Yeah, ironically, her last role was as a good guy, which even Power Rangers Mystic Force rather sloppily referenced. You are giving me a headache! As for this show, they again opted against using archival recordings of Dr. Kate, and instead brought in Yuki Kaida to voice this version of the character. Just some fun facts to prevent this from completely becoming the Tackle Appreciation Show, which she is going to earn in just a bit. Anyway, Yuriko eventually went on the offense, and even seemingly KO'd Tojima with a hell of a double-arm DDT variant, another variant on the electric wave throw. However, like many AEW wrestlers, finishers meant diddly squat even as they were bleeding like crazy. Though, unlike Jon Moxley, who does it to hide the fact they can't actually wrestle all that well, Tojima was doing it to represent the proper Kamen Rider spirit. Thus for the two, it became a classic case of the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Yuriko was determined to prove Tackle's worth, while Tojima was trying to prove that the show riders were truly invincible. Notably, after the electric wave throw, he almost completely stopped talking out of the attack names, which I think suggested that he was running on pure adrenaline, and yes, his love for his favorite masked superheroes. I also want to take a minute to really praise the music during this fight, especially here when Yuriko was boxing and her theme was remixed in a way that you could feel her building determination to try and take down Tojima, and yet there was a slight sense of trepidation as Yuriko knew that she was fighting the truest of uphill battles. Conversely, when Tojima's theme kicked in, it was the same old song to represent how he'd always give his all when representing Kamen Rider Ichigo. That said though, if he was always at his rider peak, and Tackle still had potential to grow had she not been killed off, then perhaps she could surpass even the great forerunner of this franchise. This led to a really powerful moment, where I gotta give credit to Sumi Shimamoto for really emulating the late Kyoko Okada in order to deliver a message to her true successor, who wasn't just some typical idol chick or an evil bitch in leather. With that, she dropped all of the ridiculous variation crap and actually did a proper judo throw on Tojima. And when even that wasn't enough, her theme kicked in again, but with a little more pep.
I love you.
And in a great bit of symbolism, both compares' masks were knocked off, revealing their true selves, and yet only one was left standing. Like, really, what else is there to say except that was just plain awesome? We even got some decent comedy after the credits when the others tried to revive Tojima. Thankfully, none of them need to perform CPR and just need to put a mask on him, and no, I'm not talking about the respiratory type. So masks in JoJo aren't as effective as that little piece of plastic. With that though, the episode ended with the finals of this great little tournament arc starting with it coming down to Yuriko and Mitsuba, aka Tackle versus Rider Man. Yep, we're gonna get a fight between essentially the first sidekicks of this franchise, and yet they was still hype as all hell. This was just plain amazing. What else do you want me to say? I honestly think this will probably be my favorite fight of the series, even if we do have one more fight in this tournament arc. It just had everything from great action, emotions, and yes, fan service, as Yuriko's ladybug panties were just all over the place. I think a sign of a great legacy fight is when you get invested in said legacy in spite of having no real familiarity with it. Like, I haven't really watched Kamen Rider Stronger, as I hear it's actually a pretty mid show overall, but I was at least aware of Tackle and her significance to this franchise. And now this show, and this episode in particular, made me appreciate the impact that she likely had on many like Yuriko. I mean, not to devalue the true OG with Ichigo, as Tojima absolutely fought his best here, it's just that there was always potential with Tackle, both in story and behind the scenes, had their show not been kind of cut short due to the franchise's waning popularity at the time. So I think it's actually a great call to give Yuriko the W on this one. Of course, it helped that it was presented to us in probably the best way possible. The animation, while maybe a little jankier than the previous bout between Mitsuba and Ichigo overall, was still really good, especially by the end. That said, the real MVP of this episode was probably the sound. From some great voice acting from Ai Kayano and Sumi Shimamoto to Tei Lloyd going above and beyond with his remixes of Tackle's theme. It really effectively got across the emotions of the characters as they went back and forth before reaching a great climax with Yuriko's last two electric wave throws. Really nothing much else to say other than that this was an absolutely amazing fight and episode. I think the only kind of negative I can point out is how they'll probably never be able to top this with just 2 more episodes left in the show. I mean, if they did, I would be legit shocked, but even if they don't, like Yuriko and Tackle, they have really nothing else to prove. The legacy of arguably the first true female writer lives on. Thank you for watching, and if you want some more geeky interludes about some tokusatsu shows, I think some of our other videos on this channel might have you there. We've got something new coming out almost every day, and this week we do have a different kind of video planned in anticipation for the new season. Look forward to Idol Breaker next, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and if you excuse me, I'm just gonna go make sure that Dio never finds one of those Kamen Rider masks, because if he does, we're all doomed.